Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are standing here in the Adder's Nest in Gridania to continue our tank Rolequest. And last time Kanisena announced she wanted to commune with the elementals, and she would tell us when she's ready. A gift undone. The situation has worsened since last we spoke. Gleipnir grows bolder in his attacks, and the conjurers are spread thin in their efforts to attend the victims. Moreover, we are no closer to finding a means to counteract the blasphemy's poison. With no choice but to wait until death claims them, some are overwhelmed by hopelessness, becoming mad beasts that lash out at their former countrymen. Such tragedies all too easily beget further tragedy, as bereaved loved ones are in turn overcome and share the same horrid fate. The people speak of these incidents in hushed whispers, afraid that at any moment a monster might appear within their midst. We must sleep near without further delay. Indeed, let us hope that the Elder Seedseer's efforts to enlist the aid of the elementals are successful, and that united we may at last cleanse the trailsuit of this evil once and for all. Urgent news as a Gleipnir has ambushed a party of wood whalers. They are engaged with a blasphemy near the guardian tree, where the Great One slumbers, whispered ill. Has it divined the Elder Seedseer's intent? Is it attempting to prevent her from communing with the elementals? In any event, we cannot let Gleipnir harm the tree. The Elder Seedseer bade us rendezvous with her at Sorrel Haven. We leave at once. Battered arms and armor strewn across the ground, but there are no trace of man or blasphemy. Well, they're fell beasts, so... I guess these men succumb to despair? I see. I think I know what happened here, though I pray that I'm wrong. There's no sign of a wood whaler save their arms and armor. Seasoned warriors would never cast aside their equipment, but here it lies. They see not a single body. In the face of certain death, even the bravest among us can succumb to despair. Before the blasphemy's poison took them, they transformed. Gleipnir could not have gone far. He may be watching us even now. Be on your guard. Be as thick with corruption. If a wood whaler succumbed to a man, then we can expect a hard fight. Though I dread the thought of hurting our brave soldiers, we cannot allow the creatures they've become to roam free. Let us form two groups to more quickly track down and cull the beasts. Once we are finished, we shall regroup under the boughs of a guardian tree. Hello, Phil Beast. What? Bam. Okay. You have laid to rest the last of the turned whalers. Reunite with your companions at Evershade. Our work is done then. The loss of so many brave souls is tragic, but now they are at peace and the Guardian Tree is safe. Let us take comfort in that. I but pray the Great One will hear my plea. Elder Seedseer, are you hurt? The Great One is filled with fear, an all-consuming fear unlike any I've ever felt. It spoke unto me, and its words were clarion. Drive the evil away. Drive the evil away. It can think of naught else, and so we will not receive the aid we seek. Not until we can dispel the dread that claws the forest's very heart. No, this was our last hope. We are not alone. And there's Gleipnir. There can be no mistake. This is the profane beast, the blasphemy that has mired the Trollswood in despair. Gleipnir. Stay back. It makes for the Guardian Tree. We must stop it. The poison. You mustn't let it touch you. Such fearsome strength. Bad timing. Very bad timing. In accordance with our covenant, we Pajal have been blessed by the elementals. From the moment we are chosen, we are bound to act as mediators between man and nature. The most skilled among us are honored as Seedseers, and it is their duty to guide Gridania through times both poor and prosperous. I cannot say which of you will be found more worthy. In my estimation, you both have a potential to become Seedseers. Of that, I become more certain by the day. But I don't want to be a Seedseer. I never wanted to be a Pajal either. I never asked for any of this. Why can't I live a normal life like everyone else? How come I don't get to grow old? Why was I cursed with these ugly horns? I like them. And maybe we didn't choose to be born this way, but I don't think it makes us that different from everyone else. It's a rare gift, a blessing even, and if you can use it to help others, then we should. Don't give up on becoming a Seedseer, Kani. We'd all be worse for it. Blessing? I never thought of it that way. I suppose I just hated not having a choice. But maybe you're right. The matron is merciful. The Elder Seedseer has fallen unconscious, but is otherwise unharmed. The blasphemy must not have touched her, for I do not see the telltale mark of poison. Still, I am no healer, and she should be looked after by those who are. I shall carry her back to Gridania. We must leave before Gleipnir returns. Await me at the Elder's Nest. And directly ported here, huh? That's nice. Allow me to thank you again for your assistance. The Elder Seedseer has been delivered into the care of Isumian, and by the grace of the elementals will she make a full recovery. In fact, she has already regained consciousness, but is not yet allowed to receive visitors. We cannot wait for now. God damn it, I was useless. I could do nothing while the Elder Seedseer faced Gleipnir alone. I was to be her shield, but I stand before you while she lies abed as proof of my failure. Kanisena lives still, and she still requires your protection. You truly are the hero of whom the bards sing, aren't you? You've suffered terrible trials, yet still you stand tall and resolute. Thank you for your counsel. How close I came to forgetting the lessons of my past. What do you mean? I've spoken of it a few. Truth be told, it brings me shame to recall it. I fought at Cartano, not as a soldier of the Eorzean army, but as a conscript of a Gallian imperial army. Clad in armor and magitech, another drop in the sea of pitiless metal. You grow numb to the violence of the killing out of necessity. It becomes routine. Work to earn your next meal. But then the moon shattered and the dragon emerged, and when the dust had settled, there was another body clinging to life amongst the fallen. I remember staring at the burning sun above, growing weaker, wondering if the heat or an Eorzean blade would finish the job. But it wasn't death that came, but salvation. I was delivered from my well-earned fate by the Elder Seedseer. She deigned to save a man who once bet steel against her people. Her kindness didn't end there. Once my wounds had healed, she welcomed me with open arms. Never did she regard me with distrust, nor did she ever make me feel obliged to repay my debt. She fought not to take life, but to safeguard it. Through our friendship, I came to see the wisdom in that distinction, and pledged my remaining years to her service. It would have accomplished nothing to throw myself against Gleipnir in vain, and even if there was profit to be found in the sacrifice, she would not abide it. Your words serve to remind me of this. We will defeat the blasphemy, aye, but we will do so without forsaking that which we hold dear. This I swear. Exactly. A pact proven. Desiree, the Elder Seedseer has grown strong enough to receive visitors. Come, we must go to Stillglade Fane at once. Elder Seedseer, it fills my heart with joy to see you in better health. I'm gladdened by your presence as well, my friend. And lest you wonder, no, the conjurers found no trace of a poison in my humours. If you're ready, I would resume our search for Gleipnir. They may be up to the task, but you're not. 'Tis one thing to engage in conversation, quite another to go gallivanting about the 12th root hunting a blasphemy. I'm aware that you are a conjurer of surpassing skill, would not presume to gainsay your judgment. But have my wounds not healed? Those visible to the naked eye, perhaps? I worry that the strain of your communion with the Great One has taken a toll on you in ways we may struggle to perceive. The Great One is a being of purest ether, and you are exposed to his unbridled despair, its raw terror. There may be consequences. I'm aware of that, but Gleipnir must be stopped. Until the blasphemy is laid low, people will continue to die. How am I to carry out my duties cloistered here? How am I to deliver the forest and its people from its despair? 'Tis your duty that demand you remain. I understand your frustration, but if you were to fall in battle, if your guiding light you bear were to fade, then all Gridania would be lost. Rest, Kani-Senna. Rest, and gather your strength so that, when the time comes, you are fit to do what must be done. In the meantime, trust in your allies. You're right. That said, I see no reason I cannot join in planning our next step. As you said before, conversation is quite unlike gallivanting about on a hunt. Our encounter with Gleipnir has made it plain that we cannot hope to triumph over it as we are. Only with the Great One's power can we achieve victory. When the 7th Umbral Calamity was nigh, the Great One committed a portion of its boundless energy to extend a barrier over heaven and earth, the Ermine Hedge. Thus was the 12th Root spared the worst. If we could convince it to again lend us even a small measure of that power, we would not need fear the poison. Therefore I believe we should pour our efforts into placating the elementals, that we might earn their favor. The quieting worked before, it may again. Of course, you are the inheritor of Ator's will. Wayao and Arun praised the wisdom and bravery you displayed that day. Indeed, we were very nearly overrun by the creatures that the Great One called to its defense. But this time is different. The Great One quakes with such fear that it cannot even bear to behold its enemy, let alone fight it. And so we must first find a way to dispel this fear that binds it, and we are sure that together we can defeat Gleipnir. Only then will it hearken to our words. I think too that we must gain a greater understanding of what drives Gleipnir. It seems to bear a resentment towards the elementals, the Great One in particular. Why? I have pondered this question myself. Lingering memories of a person Gleipnir once was may be responsible. Reports from Hazatan suggest this is likely the case, in fact. If we could but ascertain the original identity of a blasphemy, but where are we even to begin our investigation? With my vision. You were granted a vision of Gleipnir's past, and I was there? Then I may know who he is, or was. As do I, the boy who trained alongside Kani in her youth. Easura Supin, after all these years, is this what became of him? Ah, you mentioned him briefly before. Were you close? Easura was Pagel like me, but he had never known his parents and devoted himself wholly to his studies. He embraced the role the force had bestowed upon him, and truth be told, was a much better student than I ever was. A fair assessment. Despite your esteemed heritage, you never took to my lessons as well as he, ever dreaming of the outside world. Stealing off into the woods more times than I can count. I could not keep watch over you at all hours, not even if I tried. The Elder Seedseer, a rebellious spirit? I can scarce imagine it. I resented being a Pagel. It was inconceivable to me that I could not live among the others, and I did not scruple to express my misgivings to Ezumian at every opportunity. Seedseer was a pillar of constant support. It was thanks to his encouragement that I at last embraced my destiny and resolved to use my gift for the greater good. We would become Seedseers together, I believed, until one fateful day, when we were gathering helps in the forest at Ezumian's behest. We met a wanderer hailing from a distant land who told us his beloved was with child and that he had traveled to Gridania to beseech the Great One for a painless birth. He asked us to guide him to the Guardian Tree. However, entry into such a sacred place was not ours to permit, and there was something odd about his demeanor besides. With regret I refused him, but Seedseer was loath to turn away a goodly stranger in need. He agreed to guide the man, despite my protestations. I ran to Ezumian as fast as I could, and together we made haste to the Guardian Tree. We found the man motionless on the ground, having succumbed to the Great One's rage. And next to him was Seedseer, alive but unconscious. In time we recovered and related the whole story. In truth, the man had been an adventurer, a seeker of wealth and glory, and as he had knelt to make false supplication, he lunged forward to tear a branch from the Guardian Tree. He was yet a child, and Seedseer had no inkling of the darkness that could dwell within man's heart. He learned the lesson that day, but the price he paid for it was great indeed. The Great One stripped Seedseer of his horns, and with them the right to call himself a Pagel. I was forced to expel him from the fane. I never saw him again, nor heard a word of what had become of him, though not for lack of trying. Despite his hardships, did he remain in the 12th Wood all this time, I wonder? He dreamed of naught else but becoming Seedseer, of a life in service to the people and the forest. He knew the weight of the responsibility and was eager to bear it. But he was deprived of that purpose by the very elementals he loved, and yet he did not lose that will to serve, I suspect, and instead resolved to watch over the 12th Wood in his own way. I shudder to think what could have hastened his transformation into Gleipnir, as if his life was not harsh enough. In our final conversation, Seedseer confided in me that he would search for a means to calm the Great One's rage and earn absolution. To that end he said that he would seek the counsel of the Mughals. They have called the 12th Wood home for far longer than we have, and so none are more like to have knowledge of its most hidden workings. That comes as no surprise. He would not give up so easily on his dream. Even if the Mughals know naught of Seedseer, they may be able to help us in other ways. Will you travel to a bramble patch in my stead, Desiree? I have faith they will accept you with a characteristic aplomb. I shall remain with the Elder Seedseer, but I would gladly join you in battle against all manner of fearsome foes. I think myself ill-equipped to contend with Mughal mischievousness, and I know you are a stoic veteran of such mighty struggles. And pretty much where we... at the entrance to the Thorn March, that is over there. Surely you can see that I'm armed. If it's all the same to you, we don't want any. Move along, Kupo. Quite peculiar face you have, Kupo. Familiar too. You wouldn't be the self-same one where you gave the legendary moral scarf what for, would you? Desiree, was it? Aha, it's an honor to meet you. Allow me to thank you personally for bringing that silliness to an end. Brookva Pika is the name. What brings you to our neck of a 12th Wood? Why, what a pleasant coincidence. We were just discussing how we ought to go about calming the elementals, Kupo. That blasphemy with the dreadful horns has got them on edge, and for good reason. I've had to ask my personal guard here to sleep with one eye open. In case you have noticed, the beast's corruption has been spreading all throughout the woods. Needless to say, we've all got to stand up and put the Twelvewood to rights. Ryo suggested that the Muggles contribute by scouring the forest for even the smallest sign of taint. Gotta cleanse it before it gets out of hand, you know? Difficult and time-consuming work, but if it's in service of the forest, then we'll do it gladly, Kupo. Hey, I know you. You're the adventurer who gave me some of my finest scars. Kupti-koop of a Mogul's guard. No hard feelings about the whole hail to the king, Kupo bit, I hope. Not going to call for a rematch either, in case you're worried about that. Ryo only others cured us of our tempering and afterwards set us down for a stern lecture. May he ever remain unsummoned in his royal grace and splendor. Indeed, and what better way to make up for past discrimination than to serve the realm? Even now, our kin scour every ilm of a Twelvewood, and we would be remiss not to do our part. We would be overjoyed to have a hero such as you helping us as well, if you're willing. Something tells me you have a sharp eye for the taint we seek to cleanse. Can we count on you, Kupo? Your reputation for magnanimity is well deserved. Let's begin by moving to higher ground, where you may survey the area and locate any particularly nasty spots of blight. Oh, you were able to make your way up here after all. I was worried you'd be stuck. Apologies for leaving you behind, but it's so easy to forget that you're kind of like wings, Kupo. Now then, where is it? There, to the south. Let us cleanse that festering taint at once. Corrupted soil. The grass here is so brittle, Kupo. Restoring this area will surely put pep in the Great One's step. If it had feet, that is. Tainted Sprite. That was some fine work, Kupo. I dare say it's even in better shape than it was before. The others are doubtless flittering about, stamping out corruption wheresoever it wears its hideous head. If I were the Great One, I would be applauding our efforts. Well, insofar as a being without hands can clap, I suppose. How was the taint cleansing, Kupti-koop? I did what I could, but I swear, as soon as I finished with one area, two more start manifesting a fresh taint. The forest's ability to heal itself is waning, and this sickness is spreading too fast for even a legion of Muggles to manage. We don't come up with a better solution soon. The situation is more grave than we imagined, Kupo. Oh, what do we do? We should maintain our effort to purify the forest regardless. But since there are only so many of us, we must also have the forest to remember how to help itself. A brilliant idea, I think. How do we go about doing that? Well, I was just getting to that part, Kupo. I've got it! We perform a friending! Friending? What in the name of good King Mogulmok XII, may he shower us with love and compassion and couponuts, is that? Truth be told, I couldn't remember the ancient rite's name, so I just made something up on the spot, Kupo. But let's forget about that for now and move on to the stuff I do remember. It's an old ceremony, first performed when the nation of Gridania was but a sparkle of an idea of a random thought in its founders' heads. They knew that if they were to establish a home within the Twelvewood, that they would first have to entreat the elementals for permission. So Mage and their company found and cleansed a few sources of foul aether, planting saplings in their place, and consecrating the ground with a prayer to show the forest the purity of their intentions. The elementals were so taken by his display that not only did they permit his people to settle within the forest, they also bestowed upon him their blessing as proof of their new covenant, Kupo. Ah, I remember now. The Godanians still honor the agreement to this day. For every tree that is cut down, a sapling is planted. So, if we follow history's example, we can soothe the forest's pain and also nourish it with new life. That's right, Kupo. Oh, but I wasn't finished with a story. Remember the mage who planted those sacred saplings? He was none other than Yoen, sire of E. Ohok Potter, the very first Patchel. From that day forward, the elementals would bless a select few heroes with horns, favoring them with their fellowship. The Patchel were exalted by all the peoples of the Twelfthwood, even the Mughals look up to them with awe. And that's how it all began. Something wrong, Kupo? You have a strange look on your face. Gleipnir may be a Patchel, a former Patchel at least. Oh, how dreadful, Kupo! But what exactly are you saying? Ah, so the man you think may have become Gleipnir was a Patchel stripped of his blessing? The blasphemy kills with a poison with manifest symptoms that resemble those of creeping death. I feel sorry for this heir, Sura. To love the elementals only to be shunned by them? To be surrounded by the beauty of a Twelfthwood and know that he was forever an outsider? All for a child's mistake. The despair could easily have caused him to turn, and this poison that preys upon those who bear the Twelfthwood's blessing, the heroes, just like the creeping death once did, might be another manifestation of that despair. That would explain the elementals' unease, Kupo. We must redouble our efforts to plant saplings or they might never speak to us again. Indeed. Well, first things first, we must gather as many saplings as we can. Then wait for us at the Adder's Nest, make ready for a long and back-breaking day. I'll come back this way. Did the Mughals have any insight into our problems? A reenactment of a ceremony which laid the foundation of Gridania. A fitting plan given the gravity of the threat our nation now faces. As ever, there is much work to be done before we can even begin. While the Mughals gather saplings, we shall continue to scour the Twelfthwood for new beasts that must be purged. Let us pray that the Elder Seedseer regains her strength quickly as well. For now, take a rest, my friend. 'Tis a rare indulgence these days, and one you've earned 1,000 times over. Alright, but I make a cut here, and next time we continue and probably finish this quest chain. Until next time then, I'm Mace, and don't get lost.